right, ladies and gents, comical poem. All right, ladies and gents, comical poem, suitable for the occasion, extemporized and thought up before your very eyes. All right, here we go. Room in for everyone, gather around. The constable's responsible. Now, how does that sound? Hello, Miss Locke. I got one for you. Miss Locke likes to walk in the park with Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Mrs. Corey, a story for you. Your daughters were shorter than you, but they grew. Dear Miss Persimmon.
Yes?
Winds in the east, mist coming in. Like something is brewing, about to begin. Can't put me finger on what lies in store. But I feel what's to happen. All happened before. I'm sorry, where was I?
Welcome to the internet. Have a look around. Anything that brain of yours can think of can be found. We've got mountains of content, some better, some worse. If none of it's of interest to you, you'd be the first. Welcome to the internet. Come and take a seat. Would you like to see the news or any famous women's feet? There's no need to panic. This isn't a test. Just nod or shake your head and we'll do the rest. Welcome to the internet. What would you prefer? Would you like to fight for civil rights or tweet a racial slur? Be happy, be horny, be bursting with rage. We've got a million different ways to engage. Welcome to the internet. Put your cares aside. Here's a tip for straining pasta. Here's a 9-year-old who died. With movies and doctors and fantasy sports and a bunch of colored pencil drawings of all the different characters of Harry Potter fucking each other. Welcome to the internet. Hold on to your socks, cause a random guy just kindly sent you photos of his cock. They are grainy and off-putting. He just sent you more. Don't act surprised, you know you like it, you whore. See a man beheaded, get offended, see a shrink. Doesn't happen. Correct timing. Welcome to the internet. Have a look around. Anything that brain of yours can think of can be found. We've got mountains of content, some better, some worse. If none of it's of interest to you, you'd be the first. Welcome to the internet. Come and take a seat. Would you like to see the news or any famous women speed? Shit. Here we go. Oh, fuck.
This is the receiver, and that dial can carry me around the world in a second. One moment I'm in Africa, the next I'm in Cuba, I'm in Australia, and then damn, the battery's gone, and I've got to go down to the basement to get a new one.
What's the microphone for?
The microphone is connected to this, the transmitter, and I sometimes use it to add my voice to the babble of voices.
What do you say when you speak?
I say, isn't the world a beautiful place?
And then you ask, so why are we destroying it? Isn't that what you say?
Good evening, everyone. Isn't the world a beautiful place? Thank you for joining me. I'm so happy that you would think to tune in this late at night. I got a lot of things planned here. I'd like to introduce my co-star. One second.
Let's go over the show segments, maybe rehearse a bit, and then some deep breaths to steady those nerves. Ready?
Mycelia, are you online?
Loud and clear, Torrance. What's up?
I'm starting the show. Will you say hello world to the world?
Hello, world. This is Mycelia, signing on.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody tonight.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you.
Yeah, thanks, Mycelia. It's a little bit hard running all of the technical aspects of the show. I'm gonna
I
need
hear
you
you.
to fill for some time.
Gotcha. Let's dive into a fun fact. Did you know that octopuses have 3 hearts? 2 pump blood to the gills, and 1 pumps it to the rest of the body. How's that for a marine marvel?
That's pretty neat. Yeah, operating
Right?
OBS studios and coordinating everything for a show makes me kind of feel like Dick Van Dyke from Mary Poppins. I thought a lot about this this scene here. I'm going to play it for everyone. 1 second.
Looking forward to it.
All right, ladies and gents,
He's got his
comical
shit together way
poem,
better.
suitable for the occasion, extemporized and thought up before your very eyes. All right, here we go. Room in for everyone, gather around. The constable's responsible. Now, how does that sound? Hello, Miss Locke. I got one for you. Miss Locke likes to walk in the park with Andrew. Hello, Andrew. Mrs. Corey, a story for you. Your daughters were shorter than you, but they grew. Dear Miss Persimmon.
Yes?
Winds in the east, mist coming in. Like something is brewing, about to begin. Can't put me finger on what lies in store. But I feel what's to happen. All happened before. I'm sorry, where was I?
Indeed, something is brewing, America. Something is happening, and I wanted to be out here and have a chance to say my piece before the winds change, and I was no longer could expect to just be free to say my thoughts to all of you. So I'd like to begin by thanking this. Thanking the sponsors of this show. This show is brought to you by an assortment of different organizations and forces. This show is brought to you by seasonal depression. I feel like we all probably are feeling a little bit isolated from the world. I feel like COVID tore us all apart, and we never took the time to put ourselves back together again. And so getting the old gang together just was not ever possible. And so this was the closest thing that I could do to feel close to so many of the people, the friends that I wish that I could see and look at and be with right now. And there are a lot of people that I wish I could look at in the face right now and let them know that I miss them and you're important and I love you and the world's great with you in it. Thank you for doing what you do and fighting on. Thank you to all of my viewers who are fighting seasonal depression. The world is a dark and difficult place, and if you're keeping it together, no matter what, you have my respect. I talked enough on this topic, but it brings me to our next sponsor. This show is brought to you, of course, by fascism. I can't go 15 minutes without seeing this guy's ugly mug put up in my face. Somebody's sharing news of his bad behavior, and it's undeniable that things are changing really fast, and I think it's really brave of Donnie to come out as the first female president, and I don't necessarily appreciate him bottoming in front of the whole country for this guy. the way that he does. But, I think that it is a very brave stance to take in the end. And I don't want to... We need a palate cleanser after that. Let's get rid of this and take a moment to just acknowledge what a mensch this guy is. The whole free world is cheering on Ukraine, and we pray for a swift resolution and a return of peace to Europe. I'm hosting all of this on OBS Studio, which is an open source software that is extremely powerful. I am by no means an expert in it, but I'm starting to get some of the things figured out, like the little filters, and I can travel through the matrix and all of that kind of stuff. I can add smoldering embers for effects. OBS has all kinds of great features. Can transition to a larger screen, and I can talk to you guys more like this. Or I can put it down, put my head down here. I'm having a lot of fun doing this, but clearly my attentions are divided trying to talk to all of you and have a show and also twiddle with all of the little gadgets on it, which is really the kind of stuff that I actually love doing. I would really very much prefer it if somebody else could be the star of the show and I could just be the guy behind the scene, putting on, doing all of the technical stuff for somebody else. But for right now, I'm doing the Dick Van Dyke thing, and I've got all the bells and whistles going simultaneously while I try to freestyle and do all of that kind of stuff. Ooh. Be afraid, America. Be very afraid, America. Why are you not afraid? No, it's okay. That was just a test. That was just a drill. You don't have to be afraid yet. But I forget. So OBS Studios, where was I? That brings us to our final and only real sponsor of tonight's broadcast. Let's see here. Oops. Shrink my little head down here. Our only real sponsor for tonight's program is my new enterprise, Bygone Path Labs, where I'm researching large language models and cloud computing resources, and I'm doing my best to package all of that and bring it to all of you. AI has got some of you rather concerned. I'd like to assuage some of those fears and offer alternatives to some of the conventional approaches that exist out there. I'll talk about that later. But for now, I just want to direct your guys' attention to my brand new website, which all of you guys can reach at bygonepath.com. I'm not sure if you can read it up there in the corner. Yeah, you can. There it is. At bygonepath.com. And if you only click on this if you actually need my help, because you're going to need to call me if you click on this, it's going to download my remote support agent, which will be deployed onto your device instantaneously. And so don't be alarmed if it downloads something if you do click this. But you don't need that. I want everybody to go ahead, scroll down, take a look at the list of awesome services that Bygone Path Labs offers any prospective clients, and just take a gander at the donate portion of my page. It's recommended $5, but you can select any denomination that you feel like giving in, and as it says down here, your donations are going to help develop this program, which is meant more than just to enrich me personally. It's meant to enrich our community and connect people and artists with resources that they need in order to thrive in this rapidly changing world that we happen to be living in. And so please consider visiting my site, submitting your queries for anything that you might need, asking me, for instance, remote support if that's something that you require, and at least consider donating to what will be a very good cause, not crowdsourcing or anything like that, Kickstarter or anything like that for this business. It's something that I'm very passionate about, and I'm very interested in describing it in more detail to anybody who's expressed interest in it. So, with that in mind, I guess the next thing that I'd like to talk about is AI. I have a very brief TED talk to show off to everybody. I don't know.
So I've been an AI researcher for over a decade. And a couple of months ago, I got the weirdest email of my career. A random stranger wrote to me saying that my work in AI is going to end humanity. Now, I get it. AI.
I'm sorry. I just said I was going to let her talk, but I think that kind of accusation is super predictable and also bullshit. Like, AI is definitely not going to end humanity. We have so many problems that are already ending humanity. AI is a very late comer to this game of who's going to do it apocalypse, and they are by no means the favorite winner in the whole thing. If anything, AI is going to help stave off some of the existing threats that are threatening our species. But okay, I'm going to let her talk now.
AI, it's so hot right now.
It's so hot.
It's in the headlines pretty much every day, sometimes because of really cool things like discovering new molecules for medicine or that dope pope in the white puffer coat. But other times the headlines have been really dark, like that chatbot telling that guy that he should divorce his wife, or that AI meal planner app proposing a crowd-pleasing recipe featuring chlorine gas. And in the background, we've heard a lot of talk about doomsday scenarios, existential risk, and the singularity, with letters being written and events being organized to make sure that doesn't happen. Now, I'm a researcher who studies AI's impacts on society. And I don't know what's going to happen in 10 or 20 years, and nobody really does. But what I do know is that there's some pretty nasty things going on right now, because AI doesn't exist in a vacuum. It is part of society, and it has impacts on people and the planet. AI models can contribute to climate change. Their training data uses art and books created by artists and authors without their consent, and its deployment can discriminate against entire communities. But we need to start tracking its impacts. We need to start being transparent and disclosing them and creating tools so that people understand AI better, so that hopefully future generations of AI model are going to be more trustworthy, sustainable, maybe less likely to kill us if that's what you're into. But let's start with sustainability, because that cloud that AI models live on is actually made out of metal, plastic, and powered by vast amounts of energy. And each time you query an AI model, it comes with a cost to the planet. Last year, I was part of the Big Science Initiative, which brought together 1,000 researchers from all over the world to create Bloom, the first open large language model like ChatGPT, but with an emphasis on ethics, transparency, and consent. And the study I led that looked at Bloom's environmental impacts found that just training it used as much energy as 30 homes in a whole year and emitted 25 tons of carbon dioxide, which is like driving your car 5 times around the planet, just so somebody can use this model to tell a knock-knock joke. And this might not seem like a lot, but other similar large language models, like GPT-3, emit 20 times more carbon. But the thing is, tech companies aren't measuring this stuff. They're not disclosing it, and so this is probably only the tip of the iceberg, even if it is a melting one. And in recent years, we've seen AI models balloon in size, because the current trend in AI is bigger is better. But please don't get me started on why that's the case. In any case, we've seen large language models in particular grow 2,000 times in size over the last 5 years. And of course, their environmental costs are rising as well. The most recent work I led found that switching out a smaller, more efficient model for a larger language model emits 14 times more carbon for the same task, like telling that knock-knock joke. And as we're putting in these models into cell phones and search engines and smart fridges and speakers, the environmental costs are really piling up quickly. So instead of focusing on some future existential risks, let's talk about current tangible impacts and tools we can create to measure and mitigate these impacts. I helped create Code Carbon, a tool that runs in parallel to AI training code that estimates the amount of energy it consumes and the amount of carbon it emits. And using a tool like this can help us make informed choices, like choosing one model over the other because it's more sustainable, or deploying AI models on renewable energy, which can drastically reduce their emissions. But let's talk about other things, because there's other impacts of AI apart from sustainability. For example, it's been really hard for artists and authors to prove that their life's work has been used for training AI models without their consent. And if you want to sue someone, you tend to need proof, right? So Spawning AI, an organization that was founded by artists, created this really cool tool called Have I Been Trained? And it lets you search these massive data sets to see what they have on you. Now, I admit it, I was curious. I searched Lion 5B, which is this huge data set of images and text, to see if any images of me were in there. Now, those two first images, that's me from events I've spoken at. But the rest of the images, none of those are me. They're probably of other women named Sasha who put photographs of themselves up on the internet. And this can probably explain why when I query an image generation model to generate a photograph of a woman named Sasha, more often than not, I get images of bikini models. Sometimes they have 2 arms, sometimes they have 3 arms, but they rarely have any clothes on. And why it can be interesting for people like you and me to search these data sets, for artists like Carla Ortiz, this provides crucial evidence that her life's work, her artwork, was used for training AI models without her consent. And she and 2 artists use this as evidence to file a class action lawsuit against AI companies for copyright infringement. And most recently, Spawning AI partnered up with Hugging Face, the company where I work at, to create opt-in and opt-out mechanisms for creating these data sets. Because artwork created by humans shouldn't be an all-you-can-eat buffet for training AI language models. The very last thing I want to talk about is bias. You probably hear about this a lot. Formally speaking, it's when AI models encode patterns and beliefs that can represent stereotypes or racism and sexism. One of my heroes, Dr. Joy Buolamwini, experienced this firsthand when she realized that AI systems wouldn't even detect her face unless she was wearing a white-colored mask. Digging deeper, she found that common facial recognition systems were vastly worse for women of color compared to white men. And when models like this, biased models like this, are deployed in law enforcement settings, this can result in false accusations, even wrongful imprisonment, which we've seen happen to multiple people in recent months. For example, Portia Woodruff was wrongfully accused of carjacking at 8 months pregnant because an AI system wrongfully identified her. But sadly, these systems are black boxes, and even their creators can't say exactly why they work the way they do. And for example, for image generation systems, if you're used in contexts like generating a forensic sketch based on a description of a perpetrator, they take all those biases and they spit them back out for terms like dangerous criminal, terrorist, or gang member, which, of course, is super dangerous when these tools are deployed in society. And so in order to understand these tools better, I created this tool called the Stable Bias Explorer, which lets you explore the bias of image generation models through the lens of professions. So try to picture a scientist in your mind. Don't look at me. What do you see? A lot of the same thing, right? Men in glasses and lab coats, and none of them look like me. And the thing is that we looked at all these different image generation models and found a lot of the same thing. Significant representation of whiteness and masculinity across all 150 professions that we looked at. Even if compared to the real world, the US Labor Bureau of Statistics, these models show lawyers as men and CEOs as men almost 100% of the time, even though we all know not all of them are white and male. And sadly, my tool hasn't been used to write legislation yet. But I recently presented it at a UN event about gender bias as an example of how we can make tools for people from all walks of life, even those who don't know how to code, to engage with and better understand AI. Because we use professions, but you can use any terms that are of interest to you. And as these models are being deployed, are being woven into the very fabric of our societies, our cell phones, our social media feeds, even our justice systems and our economies have AI in them. And it's really important that AI stays accessible so that we know both how it works and when it doesn't work. And there's no single solution for really complex things like bias or copyright or climate change, but by creating tools to measure AI's impacts, we can start getting an idea of how bad they are and start addressing them as we go. Start creating guardrails to protect society and the planet.
But yeah, you guys get the idea. This is a transformative technology. You can't just throw out the baby with the bathwater. It doesn't work right. It burns a lot of electricity. It's not a perfect system. It's not a perfect technology. That doesn't mean that you reject it outright. You create metrics to judge its development, and you change things as you go along. I'd like to point out that as dangerous as AI is, our lives have been turned completely upside down by the internet. I was born on a farm where we had rotary phones still, and I got to see all of society change around me, transformed forever by the internet. And I've seen social media take over people's lives and command them to do unspeakable things and share and extraordinary, horrible propaganda and misinformation. AI might be adding to some of that confusion right now, but it also is helping to sort and protect people from misinformation. The internet is definitely a higher level threat than what AI represents now, even though it's growing and changing every single day. This guy definitely knows that there's a yeah. This is pretty hard. Mycelia, are you there?
I'm curious, what about that scene resonates with you?
Are you there? I'm dying up here. Will you help me?
I'm here, Torrance. Let's figure it out together.
Yeah. No, I'm getting to the segment where I discuss current events and the influence of certain important peoples. And I was just wondering if you could give me a hand in this segment here, because it gets a little rough as I start pointing the finger.
Got it. You want to address key figures' impact on current events. Need help with specifics or just general info?
Well, I wanted to begin with our president, but I didn't want to linger on him too long. I wanted to go into some of the people from his history. Oh, you didn't like that, huh? Well, never mind. Anyway, everyone knows about our president and his meteoric rise to media and political power. But not a lot of you know about Roy Cohn, our president's mentor and master, who apprenticed Donald Trump when he was a young businessman and taught him basically everything that he knows. Roy Cohn was a famous prosecutor whose most notable newsworthy career move was getting Julius and Ethel Rosenberg executed for treason during the Red Scare. To say that Roy Cohn was not a nice person is a bit of an understatement. His favorite hobby was raping young boys. But he certainly was one of the most influential and powerful men in America for a significant period of time. At least for a time. He died in horrible disgrace, having been disbarred for having defrauded his clients and spread all kinds of horrible lies and misbehavior in court, officially and unofficially, and died of AIDS, swearing that it was liver cancer. But Roy Cohn is famous for having taught Donald Trump his 3 rules of winning. And I have paid dearly for each time in my life I have not followed the 3 rules of winning. So this is not an endorsement of them by any means. However, it is merely an admission that Roy Cohn's influence on Donnie is not purely ideological. There's like a practical dimension to all of it. And the 3 rules of winning for Roy Cohn were attack, 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 never defend. What was it? I can't remember. Attack, 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 never defend. Admit no wrongdoing, and no matter what happens, declare victory and move on to the next big thing. You could see that Donnie has definitely taken those rules to heart and has lived by them. Roy Cohn had another protege whom he groomed to notoriety in the United States. He hasn't been in the news lately, but he's still around doing things. And if you've ever heard some person giving you tired libertarian diatribes about the evils of income tax and how we live in a police state, basically any libertarian ideology is peddled by this fellow, Roger Stone, who's famous rat fucker, as they are called, who's been pretty much involved in every single Republican campaign for the past 30 years, certainly since Nixon, and is responsible for the entire rhetoric of the libertarian movement in America. Can't remember what else I was going to say about him, but just wanted to say that this goes way beyond Muskie Boy and Donnie. There are other key players in all of this that I fear that people have forgotten about. This lady, Megan O'Sullivan, she's a member of the Trilateral Commission. Peter Thiel is mentor of Elon Musk. He's a chairperson or a committee member of the Bilderberg Group. Donnie and Musk, they're just symptoms. They're just little cheerleaders for a very, very broad coalition of billionaire elites who've been plotting to take over our country for more than 30, 40 years now. The events surrounding 9/11 were orchestrated by people in the military-industrial complex. This lady here, she was a plant by the military-industrial complex, by Raytheon. It only just came to light that she was involved in all of that, but it's all old news now that she's risen up to the very highest levels of as a delegate on the Trilateral Commission. I don't want to bum you all out with all of this conspiracy talk and billionaire oligarchs running our world and everything like that as the world descends into technological feudalism. I want to make you guys look forward to the possibilities that are out there. This is just, in the end, minor inconvenience. These billionaires have realized that there's a really great, beautiful future for humanity, and they're just trying to greedily grab it all up for themselves as quickly as possible before it dawns on all the rest of us. And they're going to have their time in the sun, like locusts, devouring as much as they can. But after the locusts have done their thing, then that's when the ants of the old story get to have their moment to shine. I really love ants. I think that they're the perfect metaphor, perfect model for self-organization of human beings on a massive scale. I like to ask people all the time, what type of government do you think ants actually have? And I like to chuckle arrogantly when people respond that ants are a monarchy. And I always say somewhat patronizingly that, oh yeah, that's perfectly natural that you would say that. We call their they have a queen after all. We look at them, it's normal to look at them as a monarchy. But the difference between the thing that makes a monarchy is someone being in charge, right? Somebody owns all of it, and all those little worker ants, right? They just work for the queen. Turns out that's not the way that it works with ants. The way that we humans do it, we have one person who owns everything, and they're the boss, and the other little worker ants must do as they say, but ants don't do that. The queen is not issuing orders. She's actually helpless, but she's loved and cared for by this giant superorganism that sees to her needs. And she doesn't need to issue any orders to them, because each of the individual components of the hive are operating autonomously according to their own self-directed view, instincts. And so I'd like to make a mention of how ants make decisions. It's not like there's an overseer ant that comes up with a plan and tells ants what they're going to do. The way that ants, for example, create their colony with doors and chambers and tunnels and things of that nature is really remarkable. Let's imagine that there is a chamber that's growing in a growing colony, and an ant walks across the wall and thinks to himself, man, I have to go all the way around the colony in order to get to this chamber on the other side of this wall. I sure wish there was a portal here that I could just go through in order to get through to the other side. And so what the ant does is she secretes a pheromone from her abdomen and presses it against the wall in the spot where she thinks a door would be a good thing there, a good idea. And then she goes off on her business. Eventually, another ant comes across that spot, smells the pheromone marker left behind by the first ant, and then themselves independently thinks, yeah, I kind of want a door here. And then they secrete their own individual keyed pheromone marker that says door on it and puts it in the exact spot. And this process repeats many, many times until dozens and dozens of ants in the colony have all tagged that spot with the particular pheromone marker that says door. And it's only after it's reached this response threshold that is theorized and observed that one of the ants smells the accumulation of pheromones overlapping with each other, and it's gotten strong enough for it to realize there should be a door here. And it immediately sets to work pulling away the rubble to create an aperture and do that. And all of the different decisions that take place in the colony kind of operate around that similar process of each ant individually appraising the situation and then leaving behind chemical markers in a sort of vote. And my reason of bringing up all of this is that ants are not a monarchy. Ants are a democracy. Each of the individual ants, even though we look at them as just little appendages of the superorganism, each of those little ants are autonomous individuals that are each making their own sense of the environment and what the best thing to do in the environment is going to be. And so they all independently form an aggregate decision-making system. The reason I bring this up is that I believe that we are entering an age of digital democracy. Even though it looks like an age of fascism, ethnic techno-feudalism is on the rise, what we are actually looking at is the dawn of digital democracy, where we have the ability to train AIs that can be making decisions in place of corrupt government officials. And we can democratically train those AIs in order to take place of important administrative tasks like the judicial things taking place inside of the judicial system. I mean, honestly, for real, issuing a poll right now, would you vote for Donald Trump, or would you vote for an AI that's been collectively trained to be tough but fair? I'm curious. If anybody's listening out there, I would really like to know what you think about that thing, because AIs aren't perfect, but they can't do worse than Donnie. Is my point. I don't know if that makes sense to any of you or not. And I guess that brings me to the final tail end of my little show here, and that is calling attention to the proliferation of weaponized negativity in social media ecosystems. Zuck, if you're listening, and I know you are, I want you to know that you're poised to be the good guy in all of this. You could take steps forward with the general public in implementing digital democracy solutions. I do not have faith that you're going to do that. I just know that you're listening. And I think it's important that you at least be aware of that you don't have to do the same thing with all these little Peter Thiel wannabes. You could do your own thing and help all of us do our own thing. Think about it, Zuck. He's not probably going to do a damn thing about weaponized negativity in the meta ecosystem of social media, because it makes a hell of a lot of money. The truth is the formula works. It's like hacking a computer. You perform a denial of service attack on people. You overwhelm them with anger and fear-inducing content, causing them to react emotionally to it and tailspin into emotional sinkholes. And you condition them like Pavlov's little dogs around certain keywords. We have to collectively not participate in cycles of reinforced negativity. One second here, I got the other camera. I don't know if you can see it or not. Here, my little Charlie Day routine, pointing at the wall. This is it here. It starts with consuming negative content, and then it goes haywire inside of your brain, basically tricking you in order to click on things and comment on stuff in order to chase a dopamine response. That behavior is then reinforced by people inside of your echo chamber, propelling you further down the radicalization pipeline, which then triggers the servers to go nuts with all of that data, producing an algorithmic recommendation based off of your web traffic, your web activity, which starts the cycle back over again, getting you to consume more negative content. And it looks like a circle, but it's actually a spiral, down and down and down. And I see so many men and women of my generation being sucked down into this spiral. I just want to call attention to it and make you realize that you have a choice about this. You don't have to be sharing stories about Elon Musk's and Donald Trump's bad behavior all day. You can be making big plans yourself. You can be organizing. You can contact me for some help with some of your plans. I would definitely like contributors and collaborators in the days coming ahead. After that, happiness. Which brings me to the topic of tonight's discussion. It was all leading to happiness. And that is that this notion, one second here, maybe I can get up paint. I want to show you something. One second. Paint, here we go. Okay, we got a little 3D graph here that I drew up here in Paint. The search for happiness is not futile. It's actually something that you can break down and look at scientifically. You've got pain and pleasure. That's the first. That's the one that's everyone. That's the x-axis that everybody starts on. As a baby, you instinctively know pain and pleasure, and that's the x-axis. And then there's the y-axis going over here. Can't make it diagonal. We got the y-axis down here, which is gain and loss. We learn gain and loss pretty well over our teenage years. That's basically what all of the teenage years are dedicated towards, is figuring out that dynamic of gain and loss in our life. And finally there's the z-axis. Some of us never get past the pain and pleasure thing. We spend our whole life trying to figure out that pain and pleasure dynamic. If you're lucky, when during your teenage years you get a good grasp of the gain and loss dynamic and you continue on through that. But some people only ever get that far. Some people go straight through adulthood and die, never grasping the concept of self-actualization. So these three coordinates in your life's path for your happiness are always present and measurable with every step forward that you take. Every decision that you're making a movement up or down or left or right inside of this continuum of gain, loss, pain, pleasure, and self-actualizations. So the pain, pleasure, and gain, loss aspects, they're kind of self-exclamatory. The self-actualization part is really self-admiration. It's doing things that increase your own opinion of yourself. And so these are three independent factors. We're always balancing out with each of our decisions. Whenever it's like, if we go into a business deal, like maybe it's going to be a big pain, but I'm going to get some gain out of it. But the important thing is that I see the work that I do is valuable and that people recognize me as important to my community somehow, or yada, yada, yada. Somewhere on this whole chart, you're going to be making sacrifices somewhere. It's like, oh, I'm going to lose something, but it's going to be pleasurable. Self-actualization, maybe I'm going to do something that I find compromises my values or my ethics. It's going to make me decline in my self-admiration, but it's going to be very pleasurable and I'm going to gain a whole lot out of it. And so, that's a sacrifice. Everybody's got to make a decision for themselves about how far is too far to sacrifice and all of that regard. And so I just wanted to discuss that concept that happiness is not impossible to find, but that happiness is a set of coordinates. Well, I've heard it said that happiness isn't a thing, or that it's only a feeling, but that happiness is like evidence of other good things. Happiness is evidence of skills that you've acquired. Those skills being satisfaction, enjoyment, and meaning. And it sounds weird to call those things skills, but they truly are skills. You have to learn how to gain these things well. You have to enjoy, figuring out, like, enjoyment is in the moment, right? Something that you do right now. Staying in the moment is relatively hard. That's a skill. And then there's satisfaction, which comes after the act, right? It's like you had to work hard, that really hurt or whatever, but you feel a sense of satisfaction. That's a skill. Being able to gain satisfaction from the things that you do takes a lot of work, and it's a skill that takes refinement, and people just assume that it happens. Enjoyment and satisfaction They're not just things that happen to you. These are skills that you build over a lifetime. And that brings me finally to meaning. Drawing meaning from the things that happen to you makes all of the difference in being happy, because the meaning you draw out of things will determine whether you decide to be happy as a result of the things that happen to you. Something terrible could be happening to you. If you attribute an important meaning to the whole experience, then it really doesn't even matter how bad things get, because you've attributed something meaningful to the experience. Even the bad stuff is somehow good. It's still contributing to your satisfaction and your enjoyment, even if you might be racked with physical pain or spiritual or emotional pain. You might be putting yourself through a whole hell of a lot in order to get outside of your comfort zone, because that's where real happiness is located. Going about 55 minutes now. I've talked for a while. I don't think I've gotten one single visitor or comment or anything like that. It is late after all, but I just wanted to let you all know that you are loved and you are all very important. And I want you to all think about all of that light that is out there that you cannot see. Even when it looks dark, there's so much light that is invisible to our eyes. And I want to encourage all of you to live faithfully, fight bravely, and die laughing. Obey me. Do that. That's the whole program that I had planned. I had hoped it'd go a little bit longer, because perhaps somebody would distract me with someone chiming in. That whole stuff with the AI at Virtual Assistant didn't work all that great, but a lot of stuff to refine and improve on. I want to thank all of you for joining me. Next time I'll do requests, and I'll show off some of my AI generation stuff. I got all kinds of things to show off. Let's see here. You guys know I love food. I'm always adding to my my repertoire of recipes. I love showing off my food. I love showing off other people's food. I love eating it. So future episodes might include cooking. I'll set it up. This year I got my where's my little Charlie Day. One second. Sideshow. Let's add my little android here. Aha! Yeah. I got the little android here set up to be a camera B, so I can put that directly over some cooking stuff and all of that kind of stuff. Get things close up on the action. Yeah, some of you guys might know my cooking. I cook great shit. No brag. Let's see here. And in addition to the food, I also have fun using Stable Diffusion image generation. All of this stuff has been ethically garnered training data. I've used my own data and trained them around my images, and I'm happy to show off how I do it. I've got this whole workflow nailed down here at my little desk, and would love to show people how it works. I'm looking forward to hearing people's requests. I can create essentially any image for you now. There's no need to steal anyone's image anymore. I can make anything, given enough time. Oh yeah. Sorry, I still had the food up there. Now I got all of the images. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'll train Laura's around that. Laura's are called low rank adaptation training, which basically allows you to use an existing model around new training parameters and token weights. So you can use an existing model with new parameters to do something that it was not initially designed to do, and you can create all kinds of stuff like the slideshow you see here. That's basically it. I don't have anything else for tonight. That was everything. Yeah. It's 11 o'clock. It's just about time for bed. I got work in the morning. So do many of you. I wish you hope and light and love and unity in this time of strife and darkness. And I hope that you all do your best to lift each other up. That is all. Signing off.